Hi, today's technique is all about this new background that my son created. We call it textured graffiti. The first thing I need to do is use a couple of background textures plates to create the beginnings of this technique. So what I'm using is from the Backgrounds Collection number 4, and I'm using the paisley background plate and this cool thing, whatever you want to call that. And so I'm starting out with a 5x5 vanilla cardstock, and that's the one I'm going to use with the paisley background. And here's what you get when you've run that through the Big Shot. I'm also using a piece of paper from Deck the Halls. This is our Christmas paper, so this is what's on the back of the Joy. And I'm using a little piece of paper just like so. This one I've put through that other cool background. And you can't really see the textures right now, but that's the whole idea of the texture graffiti. So that's what I want to show you at the beginning of this video. So I'm bringing in my sanded background stamp. And the ink I'm using for this is Early Espresso. It's one of my favorite new colors with the new color lineup. So I'm going to ink up sanded background. And we'll start with our vanilla. So this is the one that's textured with the paisley background. And I'm going to take the sanded background and I'm just going to turn it and layer on this until, and I'm not re-inking the stamp, I'm just kind of turning it so it's sort of gets that scratchy look. And what it does is it raises and shows off that paisley background. So I will ink it up just a little bit more because I want to do the same thing on the little piece. So what I'm doing is I'm taking a plain cardstock, a DSP, Designer Series paper with 2 different backgrounds, and I'm just stamping on to raise the profile. So if you can see that now, we started out with paper that looked like this, and we've turned it into this. So it's great for a masculine card. We never make enough masculine cards, it seems. And there's that one. Okay, so that's the beginnings of the card. Let me set that aside. Now I'm going to do a little bit of masking on my actual card. So for this one, I'm using Naturals Ivory cardstock, and I've stamped the pheasant on here from Autumn Days. So the first thing I'm going to do is I've stamped that same image on a Post-it note down at the sticky side. I've cut that out with my paper snips, just leaving a tiny little edge. So now I have a pheasant that looks like this. And because I've done it on Post-it note, he's going to stick right over top of the original. Or you can use, if you find that you've been using your image a few times, just use some of our Dotto adhesive and it'll do the same thing. So the Dotto adhesive, of course, is a temporary bond. So I can take this right back off. And it will become permanent if you leave it on longer than what we're going to do today. So there, I've covered up my pheasant. So using, starting with pumpkin pie. And this is one of the images from Autumn Days. And I'm just going to come up really high here. And I don't have to ink up every time because we want it to be a few different hues of the same color. And I'm going mostly slanting them to the right, but a little bit of mixing that up too. And just sort of filling in the space like so. So you see, by not re-inking every time, you're getting a little bit of variation in your color. Next thing, I'm going to take this wheat image, and I'm going to start with Daffodil. And if you're wondering where I came up with this combination, I went to the Color Coach. And the base of my card is Cherry Cobbler, so I just went onto the back of Cherry Cobbler. And I see that's where they're using Early Espresso, because I knew I wanted to use that. Here's your Daffodil, and here's your Pumpkin Pie. So it makes a great fall color. And it's also, as I said, great for guys. So here's our Daffodil. So I'm going to do this full strength. And again, it's just sort of on and off the card. It's different heights. But this one I'm using full strength because the Daffodil doesn't show up all that much on the Naturals Ivory. So there's that one. I'm going to switch colors and use a little bit of the Early Espresso with this one too. But this time I'm going to ink off, because if I do it full strength like the pheasant is, it's just going to take away from my central image here. So this one I'm going to ink off the stamp every time. Bring a few of these in. And I don't want to overdo it, but I do want it to sort of fill in the space. So then when I take my pheasant off of here, peel that back and save that mask because you can use that again. There's what I have here. Now, when you put it all together, this one goes on your pumpkin pie. This one I've cut from the top note, but I've cut away the edge. So when it gets layered onto the early espresso, it looks like so. And let me just bring back to the finished card. Here's my pumpkin pie with my image. My top note, I finished it off with a jumbo eyelet, a little bit of pumpkin pie, and early espresso grosgrain ribbon tied with a little bit of linen thread there. And I've topped it all off with a little bit of smooch spray in the log cabin. So great card. Your color combo again is cherry cobbler, pumpkin pie, early espresso. We have vanilla, naturals ivory, the log cabin smooch spray, and again, same with your inks, pumpkin pie, early espresso, and daffodil. So thanks for coming back to see me again. I hope you come back soon, and I hope you really enjoy textured graffiti. My son Cullen made it up. He's 15. I'm so proud of him. Thanks for coming. Bye.